In 1942, the most feared general in the world was defeated, not by an army, but by wooden planks and a magician's trick. In the theatre of war, it is rare to find a villain loved by his enemies. Yet in 1942, the British morale in North Africa was shattering. Soldiers weren't just afraid of the German tanks, they were terrified of one man. A man they whispered about in the trenches as if he were a dark magician. Erwin Rommel. He became such a psychological threat that the British High Command issued a bizarre order. Stop talking about Rommel. They were trying to kill a ghost. But who was this man? And how did a simple infantry officer become the god of war in the eyes of the world? To understand Rommel, you must understand his method: speed, chaos, disobedience. During the invasion of France in 1940, Rommel was given command of the 7th Panzer Division. He didn't just drive the tanks, he led from the front, often sleeping in the commander's cupola. He moved so fast, cutting his own communication lines to avoid orders to stop, that the German High Command asked, "Where is Rommel?" No one knew. Not the French, not the British, not even Hitler. His unit earned the nickname the Ghost Division. He proved that in modern war, confusion is a weapon as deadly as a cannon. But his true stage was the desert. In 1941, Germany's ally, Italy, was collapsing in North Africa. Hitler sent Rommel with a small force, the Afrika Korps, with a simple order: hold the line, do not attack. Rommel arrived, looked at the map, and immediately ignored Hitler. He realized the British were overextended. He launched a lightning offensive, pushing the British Army back hundreds of miles in weeks. He turned a defensive mission into a legendary conquest. The Desert Fox was born. What made Rommel dangerous wasn't just his tanks, it was his charisma. He didn't hide in bunkers. He was always at the front line, his face covered in oil and dust. He ate the same stale bread and sardines as his private soldiers. He dug his own trenches. When a German soldier looked to his side in the heat of battle, he might see the field marshal himself under fire, directing the attack. This created a cult of personality. His men would die for him because they knew he was ready to die with them. But then came El Alamein, the turning point. By late 1942, Rommel was exhausted. He was physically sick with stomach ulcers and nasal diphtheria. But worse, his army was starving for fuel. Enter General Bernard Montgomery. Monty was not like Rommel. He was cold, calculated, and refused to move until he had overwhelming superiority. At El Alamein, Rommel prepared his defense, planting millions of mines in what he called the Devil's Gardens. He hoped to stall the British, but he had no petrol to maneuver. He was a master chess player who had lost his queen. On October 23, 1942, the sky exploded. Montgomery launched a massive artillery barrage. The British had air superiority. The Germans had nowhere to hide. Rommel's tanks were destroyed one by one. Realizing the battle was lost, Rommel prepared to retreat to save his remaining men. But then, a telegram arrived from Berlin. It was from Hitler himself. Victory or death. You must not retreat 1 millimeter. For the first time, the loyal soldier was torn. Obey his Führer and let his men be slaughtered, or disobey and save them. Rommel chose his men. He ordered the retreat, defying Hitler. It was the beginning of the end. Fast forward to 1944. Rommel was back in Germany, recovering from injuries. He had become disillusioned. He knew the war was lost, and he knew Hitler was a madman destroying Germany. When the plot to assassinate Hitler, Operation Valkyrie failed, Rommel's name surfaced in the investigations. The regime couldn't execute their greatest hero publicly. It would destroy morale. So, a deal was made. Two generals arrived at Rommel's home. They gave him a choice. Face the People's Court, where you will be humiliated and your family persecuted, or take this poison and be buried as a hero. Rommel looked at his son, Manfred. He put on his Afrika Korps jacket. He got into the car. 5 minutes later, on a quiet country road, the desert fox swallowed the cyanide. The regime then staged a grand state funeral, mourning the hero they had just murdered. A tactical genius who fought for a criminal cause. A man who loved his country but was killed by its leader. In the end, he was a master of the battlefield who failed to see the true nature of the war he was fighting. He conquered the desert, but he couldn't conquer his own fate. Rommel's story is tragic, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. If you want to know about the other massive mistake Hitler made that same year, you have to watch the following video. And if you demand the truth about history, subscribe right now. Dismissed.